and welcome to Heart and Mind. I'm Dr. Dina McMillan, and today we have a very exciting show. I've decided to call it Completely Unhinged. So, we're looking at how women, primarily, and Democrat women, yes, have been disintegrating since the Trump victory. If I look a little different, it's because last time I was with you, we were still waiting for the final results. If I seem a bit stressed, that's why. So let's get started. Let's look at it. Now, you can find me here live stream every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. Yes, I have a lot of people watching me in Australia, and I have a few people watching me in the UK, although they've told me they have to watch the recording because this comes on at 1 o'clock in the morning for them. But welcome, everyone, wherever you happen to be. This is going to be an interesting story because, as you know, I'm a social psychologist. So what we study in social psychology is how people learn, how they're influenced and persuaded, coerced, manipulated, and even how they are brainwashed and indoctrinated. Now, one of the reasons for this show, and one of the reasons I hope you're here, is that I intend to bring a lot of that secret work and understanding to the public. I think people have a right to know when they're being unfairly influenced, when someone's working hard to get you to change your mind, take responsibility for your new choices, knowing that they did something to guide those decisions. And I hope if you have any questions, I see Cupcake. Cupcake has already come online on X and said, Trump is the only person who can fix America. I'm not in a cult. No, I think that the enormous support Trump got shows that there were people of all kinds. I don't consider myself in a cult either. And I'm going to talk to you about what cult-like behavior looks like. But of course, understand something. Well, before we get to that, though, speaking of learning and understanding, I hope you will support Daily Clout in its historic work by considering getting the Pfizer papers on Amazon. Everyone who wants to know how the government went about influencing people, changing our lives, the clinical trial documents that Pfizer tried to keep hidden for 75 years, all of that is exposed in the Pfizer papers. And if you go on Amazon, just look up Pfizer papers, you can order it and get your own copy. I would strongly suggest it for all of the audience. This is really important. Now, getting back to why we're here today. We've been watching a literal meltdown by Democrat women after Trump's victory. Some people are calling this an indoctrination fallout. Yes, it is. Hey, JP from Australia. Hello. So happy Trump got in. Yes, Trump has a lot of support across the world, and a lot of Americans aren't aware of that because, of course, mainstream media has tried to keep that hidden for a very long time. Now, you may have seen this woman. I wanted to give you a little bit more. You know, the picture doesn't quite.
I'm sorry. No. Why? Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
Now, if Trump had lost, I admit I would have been very upset. I'm sure most of my audience would have been very upset, and I probably would have cried because I have been so unhappy with the performance of the Democrats. But number one, I wouldn't have filmed it. And number two, the next day I would have gotten up and gone back to work. Now, that's not what's happening for a lot of people. I want to give you a little bit of background why, and then I want to actually have a discussion. I want you to participate with me as we talk about what we can do about this, because this is quite serious. Disappointment is normal. What we're seeing on social media, although hopefully it's just an exaggeration, it's just people doing things for attention, what we're seeing is next level, demonstrating a degree of mental illness, I would say, in many people, and at the very least, an inability to deal with and be able to handle not getting their way, not having everyone treat them as though they're special and that only their views are allowed to be spoken about. Now, you know we have really good sponsors. I told you before, I was very flattered going to my hairdressers, having people say, "Oh my God, what are you doing with your skin?" And my hairdresser said, "And your hair is so much thicker." I want to ask you something. Are you ready to move easily and independently without pain or stiffness holding you back? I want you to also get an opportunity to discover Native Path Collagen, a collagen formula that's scientifically backed to increase bone mineral density, accelerate tissue recovery, reduce wrinkles, enhance hair thickness, and strengthen weak or damaged nails. Who wouldn't want more collagen with these wonderful benefits? Now, Native Path Collagen is a single ingredient formula with no fillers, additives, or artificial sweeteners. Plus, it's third-party tested for heavy metals, ensuring purity and safety. Completely flavorless, Native Path Collagen can be added to anything: coffee, smoothies, oatmeal, you name it. Its peptide formula makes it more bioavailable, meaning it's absorbed more easily and mixes perfectly without clumping. And the best part, Native Path offers amazing bundle deals. You can get 3 or 6 packs at a fraction of the price of other brands. With over 4 million jars sold, 1 million happy customers, including me, I'm ecstatic, 8,000 five-star reviews, and a 365-day no-risk guarantee, Native Path is a trusted choice. Right now, when you visit getnativepath.com/dailyclout, you can stock up on Native Path Collagen for up to an incredible 45% off today, plus free shipping. Every order comes with a 365-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free today. Visit getnativepath.com/dailyclout, or just use this QR code on the screen to go to the site and start your own transformation today. Now, the reason I want to talk about what's going on with the reaction to the Trump victory the way I do is because I don't know about you, but I'm related to a lot of Democrats. My entire family is Democrat except me. One of my closest friends who I've spoken about before, and I'm sending her hugs because I love her dearly. She is a staunch Democrat, believes in things just like everybody else we talk about here. And howdy to you too, Zach. And it's rather difficult. We have to try to understand. Now, if you looked me up, if you went on my website, which I'll give you the website at the end of the show, www.drdinamcmillan.com, you'll notice I also have a program called Healing the Rift. And it's a program to help people with very different backgrounds and outlooks so that they can work together successfully. It has no woke thought in it. So no anti-white racism, no talk of colonialism or privilege or any of that. It's just an effective program to get people to work together. And I'm hoping I get a chance to use it with this new administration because We have millions of people in this country who have had over the last almost 10 years, because it started in 2015 when Trump put his hat in the ring for president. They have the mainstream media, the people who did not want him to get in power, have treated him worse than any presidential candidate and any president since Abraham Lincoln. And even Lincoln didn't get taken to court on fake felony charges and false rape allegations. They've done taking him off the ballot. I think he did actually get taken off the ballot. But most of us in our lifetime, our grandparents' lifetime, have never seen a president treated like this. The picture you see on the top left with the big Trump baby, that's in the UK. So even overseas, people in our country who did not support Trump were applauding him being treated in the most bullying, humiliating fashion. Now, Paul says, if not for RFK Jr., I don't think Trump would have won. Well, I tell you what, Naomi Wolf said the same thing. By bringing RFK Jr., by bringing Nicole Shanahan, by bringing Tulsi Gabbard on board, you got a lot of centrists who otherwise might have just sat out the election to actually go full on for Trump because they saw people like RFK Jr. doing it. He said, people like me who wanted RFK as president voted for Trump because we trust Bobby, but don't necessarily even like Trump. Well, that's okay. You don't have to date him. He just has to lead our country out of an abyss. We also saw the smears on RFK and realized that Trump was subject to the same abuse since 2016, actually even before that, 2015. Lisa Jane is also from Australia, said it's disgusting. I'm not sure what she says is disgusting, the way these people are treated. Nobody should be treated like this. If you have an argument why somebody shouldn't be in office, don't make up things. Don't humiliate them. And I want to tell you something. There's also, we're talking about why so many Democrats had such an over-the-top reaction to Trump winning the election. The propaganda that they are inundated with 24/7 everywhere they go has made them, I wouldn't say cult-like, because that's too easy a word. It's indoctrinated them, though. It's made it visceral. Their dislike and fear of Trump is visceral because those were the tools that were used to get them to turn against him and not even listen to anything he has to say. There's also continues to be strong media bias. So if anybody has links to Elon, please show him this program and also tell him, please buy a search engine. Doing research to get my little slides for the show, because if you're new, I should tell you, you don't think you're looking at these slides, but you have a better chance of remembering the information if I actually put a visual along with me talking. After 25 minutes trying to find information on the bias towards Kamala Harris, I had to give up. I wasn't finding anything. I had to go to Grok. It was ridiculous. But look at this. Election coverage. Positive for Harris, 84%. Negative for Trump, 89%. Lisa Jane said it's a total lack of respect for a sitting president, been following Trump for years, and media has been despicable. Yes, they may. Absolutely. And someone else commented that Kennedy may still become president. Yes, absolutely. I've been following Kennedy for a while, ever since COVID, with the real Anthony Fauci. If you haven't read that book, please do so. You will thank me later. Okay. Now, here we have Kamala Harris, and people are freaking out that she didn't win. But in 2020, during the election, when she ran as a Democrat against then Democrat Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi torched her in the debates. Her popularity was at 3%. This is the part that I said took me more than 25 minutes to try to find, because I knew her popularity was low, but Google didn't want to tell me what it was. I had to go on X and go to Grok and ask in the 2020 campaign, what was the popularity level of Kamala Harris? And Grok told me 3%. And you'll also know Charlie Harris, and his proved me wrong on college campuses all across America, has been asking people, can you tell me, if you support Kamala Harris, can you tell me an accomplishment that she's had that makes you support her? Nobody could come up with anything. So basically, they just do what they're told. Some people use the identity, oh, woman of color. Now, a lot of people said she's Black. No, she's not. She's Indian and a little bit of something else. But until she ran for Democrat presidential candidate, she always said and identified herself as Indian, which is fine. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy is Indian. He doesn't try to pretend to be anything else, and nobody cares. But it says we need legislation, not competition, to solve the search engine fire. We need both. We need both. One of the reasons I broke ranks with my people and my family. So all of you, my lovely audience, I'm so glad. All Trump did was attack Harris. What are you talking about? Yeah, he did. And she attacked him back. But the difference was he had facts on his side. He also spent most of his discussions giving policy ideas about what he was going to do once he was in office. He was attacking the fact that they put him up against a woman who had not even been chosen by the Democrats. The Democrats voted in the primaries for Joe Biden to run against Trump. He was displaced, and Naomi Wolf has talked about this. I don't even think it's legal what they did. Just displace the person without anybody being able to say anything. And it's not as though Joe Biden is dead, as far as I know. But what we want to see, I want more facts. Once I became a social psychologist, that's what broke me from the Democrats. That's what broke me from the woke. If you've seen the information that's been out lately, you'll note that depending on the poll, only between 7 and 9% of Black women voted for Trump. So more than 90% of Black women completely fell into the rabbit hole, including my family, including my close Black friends. Yeah. Also, and I'm going to show you one of the reasons why. We're just going to cover it a little bit, but I'm so glad you guys are all getting involved. I want to have you interact with me and talk to me. So X has been the only way I've been able to find out what's been going on. Here's another reason that so many Democrats, now, Julie, if you care about the Democrats, I care about the Democrats. This is my family and some of my friends. They were being so deceived about what was really going on. Look at the polls. All of the polls showed either Harris slightly above or significantly above Trump. They did not predict that Trump would win, let alone win in a landslide. It's been absolutely horrendous. Now, before we go into more, let me just show you something else, because when we're talking about fear, this reminds me of this. For those of us holding our breath for the past several months or longer, we can exhale just a little now. Work can finally begin on the major issues this country is facing. One of the most significant being our national debt. The fact is, our nation is broke, and that debt is a house of cards that can't quickly be dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. Diversify your savings. That's why I buy gold from Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control, out of our president's control. It's important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group, my gold company, will help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Text Daily Clout to 989898 and get your free info kit. Plus, right now through Black Friday, you'll receive a free 1-ounce Silver Eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text Daily Clout to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Now, one of the things, we've had a previous episode. If you haven't watched my previous episodes, you can go to Rumble, you can go to Daily Clout and type in Heart and Mind. Sorry about that. I hope you can still hear me. Type in Heart and Mind, and you will be able to see my previous episodes where we talked about fear and what happens when you use fear to control people. Over the last 8 years, 10 years, everybody's been using fear. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know. Can you hear me? Because I've been trying to get them to be a little bit quiet next door. And I mentioned last episode, I got yelled at by my neighbors. So I'm doing my best as we go through. I hope you can hear me. I'm just going to turn the volume up and see if you guys can still, can you hear me? Let me know. Somebody send me a message. Let me know if you can still hear me. But they've been using fear to control and get loyalty from the Democrats. Okay, thanks, Paul. Paul says he can hear me. Yay. Okay, now they have said things like, and the list is so long. In this, someone said a minute ago that, Trump attacked Harris. He attacked the fact that she's incompetent. That's fair enough. But when you make things up, because again, when Charlie Kirk went to the universities and asked, what accomplishment has Kamala Harris had? And nobody could give him one. This person's running for president? That's ridiculous. So look on the screen and see what some of the stuff that she said. She said that Trump's going to send Asians to internment camps. She said that he wanted generals like Hitler's. All of us, if you supported Trump, all of us got used to being called Nazis and fascists. And now here's another one. Whoopi Goldberg on The View said Republicans and Trump want to bring slavery back. The View women also said, started and encouraged by Whoopi, that Trump and his people were going to break up interracial marriages and force the white partner to marry someone else, someone white. Now, millions of women watch The View. They look at the fact that it's getting attention, that it's on a major network, that these women are wealthy and recognized. I know that a lot of these hosts get other jobs, emceeing documentaries and other things. They're held in a lot of esteem by a lot of women. So when they say things like this, for many people, they are believed. This kind of irresponsible talk is just so unfair. Harris also claimed that if he is elected, that Trump will ban abortion. Now, the Supreme Court took over the abortion matter. Trump said he would veto any attempts to have a national ban. Now, whatever you feel about abortion, that makes it a non-issue with regard to Donald Trump. Also, they couldn't just stay with that. I follow a wide range of people. I've seen a lot of people say if you have a miscarriage in a Republican state, you can't get medical assistance. If you have an abortion or take an abortion pill, like the woman who died because she did not seek help after taking an abortion pill she got through the mail. She did not seek help until it was too late to save her, but doctors did try to save her, saying if you are a small child that's raped, that you can't get an abortion, or if you're a victim of incest. There are a lot of exceptions to the abortion ban that Democrats never mentioned, and they made abortion the issue. They tied abortion to reproductive rights. So a lot of women now think that you can't get birth control if you live in a Republican state. That's ridiculous. Look at this one. This is a California Congresswoman, Katie Porter, says her 12-year-old daughter was crying after Trump won because she was afraid of not being able to get an abortion if she gets raped. First of all, if your 12-year-old is afraid of getting raped, I'm not sure how you're raising her. But also, abortion is legal in California, especially for a 12-year-old rape victim. She could get an abortion just about anywhere. So this woman is not only fanning the fear, she's using it to score political points. And notice that she got attention for this. Every time these women do this, it's almost like a competition to see who can be the most afraid and make the most extreme claim against Trump and his supporters. The fact that they've been calling Trump a racist since he ran as a Republican is ridiculous. If you go online and look up Trump, I'm not sure if Google has started to hide it yet, but if you look up Trump prior to 2015, you will see him with all of the Black leaders. Here he is with Rosa Parks, the woman who participated with Dr. King in the bus boycott that brought about integration in America, receiving an Ellis Island Award for his non-racist business practices. People have been circulating Whoopi Goldberg calling him her friend. There are pictures of him with Oprah. So once he decided to run for president, all of a sudden everybody started calling him a racist. And I would say the majority of Black people are so terrified of racism that as soon as they hear that word, they have a conditioned response to pull in and reject that person. There's nothing I've been able to find that seems racist about Donald Trump. Anybody can make things up. I mean, seriously. Okay, Roscoe, I'm not going to repeat what you say because that's just a mean thing to say about Katie Porter. All I'm saying is she was using a lie to score political points. I wouldn't say children are, by the way, Zach, as someone this is my field, remember, most people are abused by family members, friends of the family. Number one risk, mom's boyfriend or a stepdad. And he says religious organizations. No, you are far more likely to have your children abused by their public school teacher. Look it up. So, calling Trump a racist, saying all these extreme things, scaring the absolute crapola out of average women all across the country. And as a Black person, this is what I also experienced. This is a New Era Baptist church saying, warning, African Americans, a vote for Trump will put Black folks back into picking cotton. Okay. And Joy Reid went on and said that Trump was going to actually deport anybody brown. I also heard that Trump was going to deport legal immigrants. At the same time, they were trying to claim that Elon Musk was in the United States illegally, and although he's now an American citizen, that he should be deported as well. This is not rational behavior, but when you are in a group that has trained you to only listen to their narrative and their version of events, or face extreme punishment and social ostracism, we have to figure out how to get people out of this situation. Now, it wasn't helped by not only are they making abortion seem harmless, I would say the majority of pro-choice people in America and other places don't realize that there are states and there are countries where you can get an abortion up until birth just because, not because to save the life of the mother. Of course, most people say, okay, if you're going to save the mother's life. No, just because you changed your mind, you're 8.5 months pregnant and you can get an abortion where they murder the baby. There are, at last count I looked, 8 states that permit this, including California and Minnesota, where Tim Walz is. Yes. So how do they prove that they're modern and care about women's rights? Do they keep men out of women's sports spaces, rape shelters, domestic violence shelters, and prisons? No. They put an abortion ban at the Democratic Convention, the National Convention. They have a free abortion ban outside. They brought a bunch of doctors who perform abortions and put them on stage. And I thought it was kind of interesting that someone had a medical emergency in the audience when those doctors were on stage, and all of them just looked around to see who else was going to help that person. I think if it had been at the Republican conference, at least one of those doctors, probably more, if they had doctors of any kind on stage, they would have run to help the people. Different mindset. And to applaud people for performing abortions, it's going a bit far. So what happens in spite of them? And again, this is horrible. Mainstream media needs to be held to account to make it look like Kamala Harris was going to win or it was close. I even had friends, some of them in the States, some in the UK, some in Australia, who said, oh my goodness, it's really close. I said, no, I get my news off X. It's not close at all. Trump is way ahead. My only fear is, are they going to cheat again? And by the way, let me go on record. They need to not declare the Senate race in Wisconsin and Arizona because the Democrats are up to their old tricks again. No. So we have Trump Barbie. And notice the kind of people who've been picking on us for years, because this whole anti-conservative movement didn't start when Biden got in office. It started 20 years ago, around 2005. It really gained momentum. And it was all woke all the time in all the media. I work in domestic violence prevention, social services, community services. They completely took over. It was extremely painful. Government offices. I had a job for a few years ago with Queensland government, and they hired me for my qualifications, which if you look up and I send you a resume, they are pretty good. But they hired me because of the way I look and assumed I would be very left-wing and woke. And when they started questioning me after I started working there and they realized I wasn't, I was treated so badly that a lawyer friend of mine said, you have enough of a case to sue them. I couldn't be bothered, but this is what people like me have been going through for 20 years. It's not recent. If you are conservative, if you are non-woke, if you are a Trump supporter, you've been treated like what my girlfriend calls a bald-headed stepchild for a long time. Now, why? Why is it so vehement? Because fear and hatred of Trump gives people a sense. It's really small, so you may not be able to see it, but this anti-Trump Facebook group has 34,000 members. We have entertainers like Pink, who said anybody that's not pro-choice or who wants to support Trump should not come to her concerts, shouldn't listen to her music. We've politicized the entertainment industry, unlike everything I've seen for a long time. Now, let's just believe me, I want all of you guys are really making some comments. This is interesting. Let's get to them. So I'm going to quickly go through the rest of what I have to show you today, because I want you to understand these people didn't just make it up and decide to overreact to Trump's win. They had been led there by the people in charge of the media and by the Democrats, and it's completely unfair on them. Now, first thing, this woman recommends, they wanted a way to identify each other. So they're talking about having blue bracelets. This woman's talking about putting masks on again as a way to recognize each other. Joy Reid, that wonderful, calm, kind woman, has suggested everybody, all the Democrats, shun their Trump supporter relatives. Well, I've been shunned for a long time by some of my relatives, and I have a pretty small family. Because I'm not woke and because I don't vote Democrat, I have some family members who won't speak to me at all. I'm never invited to Thanksgiving or holiday dinners or whatever. It's extremely painful. I'm not going to lie to you. She's suggesting they do it nationally. This woman went online and got a lot of attention. The video itself, I wasn't able to download it, but what she's doing in the background, she's painting her nails. And in the background, you hear a woman yelling, "Help, help me, I'm having a miscarriage." So she basically says, when your conservative neighbor is having an active miscarriage, she's just doing her nails. So you don't help anybody that voted for Trump. Yes, Roscoe Pink did put out a COVID commercial too. Now, another option, a lot of people are moving to the US. The number of Americans looking to live abroad jumps by 1,500% after Trump wins the election. This couple went on Instagram and all the social media showing that they are moving to Canada. We bid them adieu and wish them all luck. Now, I want to actually show you a video of this person because this is a trans-identified woman. So this is a woman who's taken sufficient testosterone to grow facial hair and to have male pattern balding. She also has a very sweet sounding voice, but I want you to listen to what she says because I want you to really understand what we're up against.
Well, it's been rough. It was not what I was expecting at all, considering some of the rhetoric he has said. I thought we as a nation were smarter, but I guess not. To my transgender and friends and, the people who it affects, as long as you stay alive, they cannot say we don't exist. Being a Satanist means rebelling against them because they're wrong. And as long as you draw a breath, every breath you take is a rebellion. Keep on fighting because you just have to. Hail Satan, hail reason always.
Yeah, and we're the crazy ones, right? Okay. I wasn't expecting that. How about you? And then Terrence K. Williams, whom I love and want to meet. He dealt with this. Here we have the opposite. We have a trans-identified male who obviously isn't taking too much estrogen because he has a very evident 5 o'clock shadow. But his reaction to, I'm not going to show you the whole thing because we're running out of time and I want to hear from you all, but I want to show you
the way she walked off that stage and she held her head up high and why do I want to cry? But the way that she fought for us.
Fought for who?
Very fucking demure. Very much. Trump Nation.
And we are. And it is.
Trump Nation. Why did I? Okay, so I'm someone who's struggling, and when Mom was struggling, I like to buy myself stuff. So I bought that doll.
No, you lying, boy, girl. What up? What
this. Okay. I'm not happy at somebody's distress, but I kind of worry when people are buying dolls and having this level of reaction. These people have serious mental health issues. The person who wrote earlier and talked about RFK, when we're talking about making America healthy again, mental health has to be included. Now, just give me a minute because I'm thinking about families now. Attention parents, I've got an early Christmas gift for you. We've all been there where 1 minute your kiddo is bouncing off the walls and an hour later they're super sick. You feel helpless and it can turn your plans upside down, especially while you're on vacation or during family holidays. After thousands of customer requests, the wellness company has just launched the Kids Medical Emergency Kit. You no longer have to deal with emergency illnesses in panic mode. Now you can have 6 critical medications at your fingertips to treat 20 plus illnesses for issues like strep throat, ear infections, lice, and respiratory illnesses, avoiding urgent care and hospitals. The Kids Emergency Kit has been hand selected by the wellness company's medical board and includes chewable amoxicillin, dissolvable ivermectin, and an optimal EpiPen, and more. This includes a detailed guidebook guiding you step by step in emergencies, and ordering the kit is simple. Only parents can order for their children. You just fill out an intake form and you'll get a verification call for your consent. Then it's delivered to your door. Don't wait until you're in the middle of a crisis and avoid those late night urgent care runs. Order your kids' emergency kit today and remove panic from your life. And if 1 or 2 of the scripts run out, there's a replenishment option to restock only what you need. Go to dailycloudhealth.com and grab your kids' emergency kit right now. Use the code Dr. Dina to save up to $40 at checkout. These kits are only available in the USA. Now, let's continue with what they're doing, what the Democrat women are egging each other, encouraging each other to do. This is pretty mild. Dress unattractively and leave dating sites. Oh, okay. You see the note that was written there on social media, but somebody said, who wants to tell her? I wouldn't have dated her anyway. That's not the point. Here we have a woman. I won't show you. Well, the video is not very long. Let me show you.
How you like that? You gonna like that?
Okay. Blue bracelets, okay. You can always take a bracelet off. Getting tattoos, that's a bit of a permanent decision. Even more emphasis on getting tattoos. She says, forget bracelets, tattoos are for the long haul. Yes, they are. And a lot of women shaving their heads in protest. Did anybody not tell them that that's what Charles Manson's cult members did to protest him being arrested? They shaved their heads. 4B movement. I'm sure you guys have heard about this one.
Did anyone else wake up today and delete their dating apps? Like, I'm not just talking like just removing the app. Like, I full on removed myself from Hinge, Bumble. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. There's no way I am letting any man near me for the next few years. I've been happily single for the past 4 years. I can wait another 4 years. I am so happy for women who have loving, supportive, safe men in their life right now, but it is way too scary to try and trust anyone right now because anything can happen.
So we have women joining a movement where they said they're not going to date or have sex with men, no marriage, no children. And I was talking to one of my Democrat friends and said, do you realize she said, I could probably do this. I said, yeah, but we're older, okay? What about women in their early 20s? What about women in their late 20s, 30s? They're actually planning on being celibate and not getting involved with anyone during their prime fertility years. They are hurting themselves. And are they even going to be able to do it? This young woman said she plans on seducing married Trump supporters to ruin their marriages. This woman said she made an appointment to get her tubes tied. She must have made the appointment well before the election. And if she was listening to the news, they said Kamala was going to win. So this is a little bit of a fake one. But she said she's getting her tubes tied so the government can't remove her choice. This woman, and then it gets uglier. She wants to fight Trump supporters. And this woman, I didn't put the whole video because it's 8 minutes long, but she goes into detail how she wants to encourage Black men to rape white women because since they don't believe in abortion or they live in a Republican state, they'd be forced to have mixed race children. Oh, golly gee whiz, I'm sorry. Here we go. This woman is threatening to shoot us. And on the right, you see a play that was done that shows somebody pretending to be Donald Trump, and then everybody shoots a gun and it all turns red and all the audience claps and applauds. This woman talks about, how about your skull, my gun? I will effing kill you. This woman.
Women who can divorce their husbands, I'm going to need you to do it today. And who can't divorce their husbands,
husband, I want you to divorce your husband. And if you can't divorce him, then she starts talking about what's on the next slide, a MACA movement, make aqua tofana great again. Aqua tofana is a poison that was used in the 1600s by this woman, developed by this woman, for women to use to slowly poison their abusive husbands. Of course, I should tell you now, a talk screen will pick this up, and I don't think it's really smart to put this on social media because social media is forever. But that young woman prior to this was also saying, divorce your husband. If you can't divorce him, basically poison him. And we have a whole group of women in different places advertising either the aqua tofana, she says it's not that hard to make, or poison rings, where you can actually just poison. And I saw a woman, what about anybody else see this? There was a woman who said she's going to buy a gun and just walk around at night and just randomly shoot white men. Now, this is a white woman, but she's been taught that white men are threatening and evil, and she wants to just go around killing white men. Okay, so all of you that made these comments, come on, let's hear it. I know you have something to say. Alan asked, why limit your comments to short comments? I'm not in charge of that. I am really sorry. I am really happy for anybody that came on board with a question. There was a lot of problems in Florida with regard to abortion laws. About, golly gee, Roscoe goes, hail Satan. I know. The problem is the distress is real. My sympathy is real. I would have been very distressed if Trump had lost. But this is not the reaction that I or anyone I know would have had. One of my Democrat friends said, oh, I heard on CNN that Trump supporters were contacting Black people and saying they were going to put Black people back in slavery. I looked it up, couldn't find it. The only thing I did find was that comment by Whoopi Goldberg, who of course is a Black woman herself, on The View, saying that Trump would put Black people back in slavery. We have got, okay, everybody, here's an opinion. We've got to get rid of the double standard. Over the past 20 plus years, traditional people, conservative people have kept quiet and been tolerant, while the leftists and the woke have taken over our society, acted as though they had the moral high ground, and bullied us until we felt we couldn't move, we couldn't reveal ourselves, that we had to hide in the corner. We have to stop letting them get away with that, because one of the things you're seeing as a result of that is that they have no resilience whatsoever. They had universities giving young people time off, having centers where they could go and console each other with toys in it, soft toys in it. Are they babies? And what would have happened if Kamala Harris would have won. Would there have been any kind of places where conservatives and Trump supporters could go and console themselves? I don't think so. We have to stop treating them like children. But at the same time, I would love to get some feedback from you, my smart and compassionate audience, because I can't be the only one with a family full of Democrats. I cannot just leave them to flounder. What do you think we should do? Do you have contacts that can get me to somebody in power in the new administration so I can offer them my Healing the Rift program so that people who have been indoctrinated this way can start coming back from the precipice so that they can actually work with people like us who may differ on some issues, but when it comes to caring about other people, wanting a strong society, wanting our kids to be healthy and happy, we have more in common than we have that's different. Unsubscribing. Oh, Alan Childs got annoyed by all of this. Yeah, if you're going to have a temper tantrum, this isn't the venue for you. If you have some, you see my website down at the bottom. If you have a comment or a viewpoint, please feel free. If it's something too personal to share here, then I am more than happy to discuss it with you via my website, which has information on how to contact me. And Damien has something to say. This is interesting. I hope you don't mind, Damien. I'm going to read this. I have a post I wrote about the Dances with Wolves movie, which I think in some way illustrates the power of the human mind. I have always had a tendency to articulate things very well and clearly in a way that really captures reality, that rather than vague or ambiguously. And when it involves critique of someone else, sometimes it captures things in ways that one can say are not sensitive or really provoke the other person. And it is not like I necessarily can help it. Yeah, and for a lot of us, when you saw the topic of this, Completely Unhinged, I have to admit that was a pretty insensitive title, but I wanted to show you we are actually in danger from some of these people. Anybody who wants to say, oh, they'll calm down, look at the fact that the Democrats were whipping up a frenzy against Trump, and he narrowly escaped 2 assassination attempts. And we don't know about the others that he also escaped because the security detail isn't going to tell us because they don't want to encourage more people to try. I've had a lot of people say, we're still going to try, we're still going to kill them. If you go on any of the social media sites, filled with threats about what they want to do to Trump supporters, what they want to do to Trump, we've got to come back from this. Because as last time I looked, it was one nation under God. So whether they like Trump or not, just like we didn't like Biden, but we had to live under Biden because they installed him in the White House. By the way, just an aside, there's no reason not to fully investigate the fraud that happened in the 2020 election while they're investigating the current fraud going on in Wisconsin and Arizona. So anybody else has a comment they want to make? I'm seeing things from people who say they are former leftists. There's nothing wrong with compassion, but what I don't like about leftist philosophy is it's like what a con artist does. A con artist takes your kindness, your compassion, your willingness to help a stranger, and they use it to prey upon you. And that's what leftism does. We have to have a foundation of solid values, or else our society does not thrive. America went awry when it took individualism to the nth degree back in the 60s and 70s. If it feels good, do it. Oh my God. That's how a society falls apart. You cannot have depravity. You cannot allow people to prey on the children. You cannot have a lot of the things that we're seeing right now. We need to get rid of that. And again, taking it back to the Democrat women, maybe I have more sympathy because I can see the strings of manipulation that caused them to be so invested in the world continuing as it was under Biden. And their side giving them no resources to handle dissension, no resources to handle dispute. It's their way or the highway, or they fall apart. We have Darrett here saying most of my relatives are Democrats, and I just hobble through our conversations. They are as adamant about their positions as I am about my conservative positions. I just trust them to God and do my best. Yeah, I do the same. You know, it's interesting because my really, really close friend whom I love dearly, that's always how I describe her because it's true. Okay, she's one of my closest friends. I adore her. We actually talked for a minute about politics, and she was getting so upset that I changed the subject. You know how we get through? We just don't talk about politics. I have a couple of my sisters that I'm able to get along with because we talk about everything but. We look for what we share and then focus on that. Stay away from the politics. Thanksgiving is coming. So I would suggest everybody write down my website or make sure that you remember where you saw it, because a lot of you guys are going to need my help over the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. Because if it's anything like mine, oh my God, it can be nightmarish. And as for you, Damien, I would say because you think it doesn't mean you have to say it. So before you develop your diplomatic skills, or if you don't want to develop diplomatic skills, just wait until someone asks for your opinion and then give it. And then ask yourself before you say it, what is my purpose for telling them? Do I want to help them or do I want to prove superiority? Because one of the first things they teach us about helping someone learn is you have to get their defenses down. And if people feel attacked, they're going to be very defensive. And even if you give them the best information ever, it's not going to go through. So you've wasted your time and alienated somebody unnecessarily. So save your insights to those who appreciate them. Since becoming a social psychologist, I've made it a policy that I only ask, unless someone asks me for advice, I don't offer it. Because it's too easy when I'm seeing the strings of manipulation around me to see how somebody's being guided, persuaded, influenced, coerced, manipulated. And if they don't want to know, I stay out of it. It's hard, but I stay out of it because the goal is to have a healthier, safer world. Again, let me know what you think. You don't take this and just let it run around in your brain for a while. And I will be back next week talking about persuasion. I promise to go into detail about persuasion, those little moves that happen before somebody uses the real powerhouse tactics that increase their probability of successfully manipulating you. I don't want any of you to give in to any type of manipulation. So we're going to talk about persuasion this week, unless something really big happens in the world. So thank you for joining me. And please let me know what you think. Questions and comments are always, always, always welcome. And I will see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's 7 p.m. Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time which is where I'm from in California. So have a good evening, everybody. Think about what I've talked about and let me know what you think. Okay? I'll see you next time. Bye.